I know there's a big giant glare. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? I am trying to go on my Facebook real quick and make sure that I can see any comments because Facebook is crappy. But I wanted to jump up and just do a quick little promotion for the Tales of Terra Prime. Kerra Prime. I always say Terra. I don't know why. I've just been really busy doing my other stuff, and I haven't had a chance to, really jump on and, talk about all your stuff and get you guys to be aware of it and what's going on with it, and just show you guys some art from me and Sarah Lawrence. Just stuff. Hey, Jerome. And really just give you an update on, kind of what's going on with me and my comics. At about 5 minutes before I went to the post office, so I figured I would jump on real quick. Post this out a little bit and see if we can help Tales of Kerra Prime. So, Tales of Kerra Prime is a Kickstarter that I'm part of right now that we're running the last couple of days on. And if I want to make sure that you were aware that it exists, I'm going to run the banner actually down the bottom. So that's the link right there. I'll put a link in the comments as well. The goal is to get this, out to people and to just kind of share and talk about people, talk about it, and hopefully get this. Hey, Jerome. Good morning. Good afternoon. I know it's lunchtime, so hopefully most people will see this on the replay and not live. But Tales of Terra Prime is an anthology with a lot of really cool people. Some of the top name and talent for indie comics. You got Jonathan Hendricks, you got Sonny Williams, you got Kevin Cuff, you got Bob France. You've got David Galliano, you got Alton Simpsons, you got me, you got Raven Moreau, you've got Dustin Stab, you've got Stefano Castillo, you got Kevin Stewart, you got Robbie Bragdon, you got Sierra Florence, who did my art. You just names and names of people, and Brian Silverback himself, Letter Squid, Jerome, all of us are doing this really cool anthology. And it's a superhero anthology, which is really cool. They're not all superheroes, but they're all part of the same universe, which is really, really cool. So I did a part in an 8-page story. In fact, let me see if I can show you guys that real quick. So I think I can. Bam. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. There's a page of it. It was pretty cool. There's another page. Those are not the cool pages, by the way. And there's a kind of a breakout of the Kickstarter. We're fully funded. We're trying to work on the last little bit of stretch goals. Brian continues to add new characters on a stretch goal, which I think is really cool. So, yeah, I just wanted to take a minute, say hi, talk to people. I know people have been trying to get a hold of me a lot lately. I've been so busy. We're doing an event tomorrow out in Orlando at the Collective, where we're doing a lot of signings for Cthulhu Invades Oz. So if you want to come out there, you can get it signed. There's going to be like 13 creators from that book, as well as Joe Purtz from Aftershock and some other people who aren't associated with anything I've done. But I think it's really, really cool that this project exists and that it's out there. And I just want to do my part and share one more time. I like to pride myself if I'm part of something. I'm all in. It's not just I would like to get him to at least 150 backers, if not more. He's at 138 now. So if you haven't backed, please consider. It's like $20 to get the book. It's not that much money. It's a really cool story. And like I said, there's people who are way more talented on it than I. Metal Shark Bros are on there. We've got all sorts of people. What's that? Having a great comic show. Have a great comic show experience. Yeah, Mike, I wish you were there. Chuck is on his way driving right now to come and spend time with me. So Chuck, as everyone knows, Chuck and I are friends. So that's been really cool. Knowing that he's going to be staying at my house and we're going to be selling comics together. But yeah, it's going to be a really cool event. So Tales of Terra Prime is coming. It's doing its thing. I am pretty proud of it. Let me see if I can share the screen. This is it. No, I think it's this. Share screen. Brian's here. Brian's there. Hey, Brian. Brian's watching right now as well. Mr. Silverbacks showing his support. Let me get my Chrome tab. Kind of show this Kickstarter off a little bit. Tell you what I like about it. Make sure you guys can see it. You can see it. Cool. So what I like about it is I like, first, all the creators. This is a great list. Like I said before, Jonathan Hendrick, Stoney, Kevin Koth, Bob France, Jay Rabbit, David Gallianos, a lot of these people I've wanted to work with for a long time. And it's cool that I get to be in a book with them and signing things with them, with Brian Silverbacks, with that, just trying to, build up that. There is currently, look at all the creators they've worked at: Marvel, Aftershock, Mad Cave, Hasbro, Image, Scout, Ahoy, Caliber, Heavy Metal, Action Labs, and Source Point Press. And that's not even all, because they've got Second Sight is missing from there. I know there's some Second Sight people. I know, what else have they got? Trying to think of somebody else. I think there's at least some others that are missing in that little repertoire there. So the digital copy is $10. So if you just want to kind of check it out, and say, Brian, bring me on. Sure. Brian wants to come on. So let me send him a link real quick. We're kind of talking about it. Brian, can you send me a private message so it pops up real quick so I can send you a link? So it's $10 for the digital, $20 for the digital and the soft cover, which is really, really cool. $50 for the digital, the soft cover, and then there's a collector's preview sign print. What's cool about that is that's really for the people who like to do the CGC, like to do all that stuff. That is where that is. It's a really cool addition, a really cool part of being in the campaign is you can get a CGC. It's something I kind of wish that I did for Cthulhu Invades Oz, because there was so many people who were like, hey, I want to bring this to CGC and I can't. And I was like, damn, you're right. How do we do that? And this gave me this gives that opportunity, which I think is really, really cool, to allow that to happen. And like I said, the book has so many good creators. You're going to get, a page of each of that, which I like. We got the 125 right here. You get the mass triple sign by Silverbacks, Cuff, and France, which is really cool. So you get basically the Metal Shark Bros, as well as, the whole team. This is sold before the original cover art. I signed that. So that's got to go out to somebody, which is really, really cool. You're way staticky. And can't hear you. You got to figure out whatever is causing that. So Brian's here. We'll talk to Brian in a minute. So let's go through, keep going through here. So 225, you got the digital copy, and then you've got some art from Loggerhead and Savage Bastard, which I think is cool.
No, it's Star Bastard.
Star Bastard, which I think is really cool. If you guys didn't get that one shot over at Scout, it did really well. I liked it. It was cool. So I think that's really cool. And you've got a few different pages, right? So
I put two on there. That first one that's cheaper doesn't have Loggerhead on it.
Okay.
But Loggerhead is on the second page, so it's $25 more valuable because of the Loggerhead appearance.
Well, and it's got a dope ass demon, so whatever, man.
Yeah. So I didn't even know you were doing this, man, or I would have come on. I know that you guys have a huge signing at the Collective, and you know how much we all love going to the Collective, right? And I haven't been to the new store.
Right. Yeah. Well, I just kind of jumped on. I was about to go to the thing, and I just realized my schedule. You've got 3 days left, and I want to do my part, Brian.
No, dude, I appreciate it. I don't want anybody to go out of their way. Like Dustin, you've seen Dustin.
Yeah.
Dustin Staub has been doing like 1 million appearances all over anybody that'll have him. So I'm pretty busy, and then I was at the hospital and all kinds of stuff. So I just have I don't have a lot of time, and I'm trying to put this together.
I've been really busy planning for that. I just finished Broke Down 4 and getting that to the printer, so it's been crazy for me. But your project's worth the time. We need.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. So I came on. I just wanted to say hi. I don't have much to add. I know that there's only 3 days left, and I know, dude, there's so much cool shit or stuff. I don't know what your audience is into, but
you can swear. It's cool. We're noon. People are having lunch and just swearing it up. It's fine.
But I mean, I do have the Baku right there.
Yeah. He's been representing my story, because my story is the best in the anthology. I have a clip.
I wonder. I wonder if there will be a like the best story, because I don't think that I think out of all the stories there can't be a the best, because it's not apples to apples for
Right.
most of these stories.
Well, and
So
there's a lot of variables, right? Like it's not just the best story. The story could be great, but if you don't like the character, you're not gonna. That wouldn't be your choice, right? If for
yeah,
some reason the
like
character
maybe
just
I'm more into super witchcraft stuff. So a superhero going to the hospital to deliver medicine may not be like the best story for me, because I'm really into witchcraft or
right,
I'm really
sure,
into supernatural shit. So there's something, but that's the cool thing about this whole project is there's something in there for everybody. I don't believe that any comic book person could pick this up and not like one of the 19 stories that's inside.
no, absolutely, and especially with the creators on this, like you like if you are in Kickstarter world and in that world, you like some of these creators, so you know
You
you
should
like them,
you've probably backed at least 5 people on this project already.
right? Exactly.
So that's crazy. I mean, it was really fun. It and this like with all credit, this whole idea came to me after being involved with Cthulhu Invades Odds and seeing the way that you put that together.
Right.
I was like, oh wow, that's a lot of content generated in one massive dose to give to the people. What if I could take that and do it for just like an IP that I am 100% in control of?
Right.
Like, granted that because of my IP being so less recognized than Oz or Wonderland or Cthulhu, I can't expect the type of numbers that your project got, but
Sure.
I can generate a similar amount of content inside the world. You know what I mean? So for me, when I saw how much people were willing to help you and assist you and put that whole
Right.
package together, I was like, what if we took that same energy and that same formula and applied it to a completely creator-owned IP?
Yeah.
So that and so this for anybody that's out there, I don't know how this fits into the the dead bodies thing, but if you're trying to develop an IP, how better to do that than to jumpstart with a small anthology? You get 10 of your buddies together,
Right.
you all write 10 short stories that live in that same world, so that when you want to launch your new zombie book, you've got this little zombie anthology that kind of sets up what Travis wants to do on his own after that.
Right.
You know, so being a group effort really, but I think part of it is you have to have people that you have to be able to make them believe in what it is you're trying to do. You know what I mean? Like, not you personally,
No, no, no.
but
I agree. And I will say, I've got a few messages of before Dustin's been on interviews because he kind of followed my interview tracks. A lot of the interviews that I go on to when I normally do promotions, he went on a couple of them. And a couple of those interviews, because they know me well, they're like, "What is this? Do you own this character, Travis? Like, how does this work?" And and it wasn't that they were they just wanted to know how it works so they could better interview Dustin.
I completely get it. This is I'm not super cognizant. I'm not aware of everything, but I don't think I've seen something similar done this way as far as like Kickstarter goes, like where everybody gets their character and then they all kind of live in the same world and it's this anthology, but they're not a continuous story. And it's so I don't think that there's a template, or maybe there's not the audience isn't familiar with this type of delivery system for creator owned IP.
Well, and I think that people don't understand. So, and let me explain it to the people who don't know. What's really cool about what Brian's done, let's say I create a superhero tomorrow and I want to, help it have a better launch. I could ask Brian, hey, could I do a story in the Kerra Prime universe with my hero? I would still own my hero,
Yeah.
but maybe I could ask him to borrow one or two of his that already have a small little fan offering, put them together, in a classic Marvel or DC team up, and then break it off into its own story. No harm, no foul, and everybody's really happy and everybody owns their stuff, which I think is
that's the goal. And what's cool, Travis, is as I'm doing this, as you know, we're here in the final days of the Kickstarter.
Right.
I've had a couple of people already either ask me if they can be on volume 2 whenever that gets started. And I've also had people say, hey, I like what you're doing. I have a character I want to do of my own. I want to come and play in Kerra Prime to get it jump started. Like, they're already seeing the potential. And all of this is due to everybody who was on the project, you and all the rest of the teams, but also the amount of people that are watching us do this and lending their eyeballs and believing in what Kerra Prime is trying to deliver to everybody. If we all believe and appreciate Kerra Prime for what it is, then when a new creator comes on board, we're helping them. But it all, dude, it's just so symbiotic. The way that everything just fucking goes and comes, it's gonna be awesome.
And when you go back to Cthulhu Invades Oz, in that first novel, the first one, I really, you had to have some sort of published work. You had to have had something to go in. But you've taken people on the ground like Dustin, you've seen that guy be a superstar. When he comes out with his book, he's going to kill it. He knows how to do these interviews. He's kind of cutting his teeth. And he's already been associated with people like me and Jonathan Hendricks and the Chuck Bro guys and the David Gallianos. We're kind of leveling these people up. And
that's what that is the beauty of what we're doing, man. That to me, that is part of what I think is going to be awesome. The bigger that you and I get, the bigger that we all get, that when we find somebody worthy to come in and like, let's do this, like we're bringing up more people and expose. So, because I'm a firm believer that there's enough cake that we can all eat. I've always said that. And if we can help the next guy get some cake, why not? I'm not going to be able to eat it all.
So we got a question here. What is the criteria to get a slot into this book? Well, this book's done. So not that, but if you message Brian, he could talk about what it takes to get it.
I've already talked with Hobby. I've talked with him before about some 3D modeling and stuff, and that kind of petered out. But I know that he has this mech stuff that he's
got on. Mech Warrior, Junkyard. What is it? Mech Yard Warriors is what it's called.
Yeah. So moving. Once we get volume 1 out the door, and I can kind of let the dust settle, I'll put together a better plan. I want a better attack plan, because I kind of went into this project just on the heels of Cthulhu Invades Oz.
Sure.
And I didn't know what I was doing, and I still don't, but I know a little bit more. So I think going into the second one, I'll have a clearer vision for what I'm trying to do.
So do you wish you had alt covers, or you're still strong on the no alt covers?
I did have an idea for one cover, but I want to keep my Kickstarters very, very simple, because the idea is to get eyeballs, not to get rich.
It's not about being rich. It's about giving collectors who have a different mindset something to buy. Because if they have nothing to buy, they don't care. It's not about getting rich.
I do want to do some alternate covers moving forward, but I don't just want to do it just for the sake of having more covers. So I reached out. I don't know if you're familiar with who Julie Bell is. Do you know who Julie Bell is?
I don't. I've never heard that name.
All right. So do you remember back in the day when we were younger, we would buy those fantasy books and it would have Boris Vallejo's artwork on it and stuff?
Yeah, the cover. Yeah.
Julie Bell is his wife. She was the one doing she was doing stuff similar. So it would either be signed Julie or Boris when you'd get those big fantasy books.
Okay.
So I really much liked their work growing up. So I reached out to her on Facebook, and I put the bug in her ear that I wanted to try to do a Women of Kerra Prime cover. And I know that it would be expensive to have her do a cover for us, but to me, that's when I grew up, that's the kind of shit that got me loving art and being in fantasy and world building. So if I get a cover done, I'm trying to reach out to Dale Keown. I really like Dale Keown's work. I'm willing to pay extra just to have someone that I admired and really looked up to when I was collecting and kind of establishing my brain for this stuff. Like those are the type of people I want to do covers, not to take anything away from people at our level, you know what I mean? But I want to almost do it as a tribute, like, hey man, Arthur Adams, I really liked your shit growing up. What would it take for an Arthur Adams cover or something like that?
Yeah.
So down the road,
my daughter came in.
down the road at some point, I'd like to do that.
Sorry,
That's fine.
my daughter came
Family first, man.
in.
But so I do want to have alternate covers, but you know, now that I have at least a year to think about it before we get to volume 2,
Right.
I'll be able to put a little more thought into it. And I also want the covers to not be so character centric. You know, we've got, 20 characters running around. Who do you put on the cover, and how do you set that cover up to not slight anybody? Because what if Travis helps me out with the book and your character doesn't make the cover? Do you feel bad? Do you feel like, oh, well, I did all this work for Brian and my character didn't even make the cover? So I don't like that's kind of also a balance that I have. So I guess maybe if I had 4 covers that had 4 characters on this one, 4 characters on I don't know what to do, but I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, because I want everybody involved, from the readers to the creators, to have fun and take pride in it. And I don't want anyone to feel like they were shortchanged.
Yeah, well, I think that's, kind of the nature of the beast of the growth, as these things happen, and you haven't even finished all the characters that are in the handbook, right? So there's still a few
there were some characters in the handbook that we didn't use because they're already slated to be in other things coming up. And like for Arctica, the polar bear, like that's Jonathan's character that lives in Kerra Prime. So nobody else can write for Arctica except Jonathan, because he's chosen to make his own character that lives there, but it's his character. So even if I wanted to do something, I would have to reach out and say, hey, Jonathan, I'm thinking about doing something. Is this okay? Is that on par with how you see the character going? And so Evan did the Red Hawk story inside here. He's already started talking to me about creating another character that he wants to live in Kerra Prime, but he wants to maintain control of.
Sure.
And so that's the kind of cool stuff that I think that's what the Kerra Prime is going to cultivate. And I really look forward to more of that, because as they do that, I'm like, all right, well, you can create a character that you can keep in Kerra Prime and control, but give us a character that can stay in Kerra Prime that anybody can use as well.
Right.
So that we're growing the way I've kind of thought of it is like there's these NPC characters that we can write that always, like Baku is going to be a character that stays in Kerra Prime that anybody can use as long as I get to Kevin Feige and make sure nothing messes up with like his main storyline.
Right.
So there's going to be like these 20 characters that everybody can use. And then Travis will have his own character. Arctica will be Jonathan's character, and everyone can have their own, but we're also increasing the pile that the new guys coming in can write with Baku and Frost and Red Hawk, and then introduce their character to hang out with those guys. So that's kind of the way I'm trying to build this out. The main thing is going to be like logistic, like how do we do rights and shit like that? I'm not legal or mumbo jumbo-y enough to figure out how to do all that shit.
Well, the more important thing is, it's going to grow. So, let's go back to the story. Let's say I created something and I created a villain, but I don't care about the villain. I just care about the hero. So there's people who can add to that NBC pool too that I don't think
exactly.
There's a lot to it, but the goal is to get this funded. I want to get you to 150. I'm sure
I do think 150 would be a nice good number. I saw that Caleb Penquist he got like 577 backers on his unicorns. And I was like, holy shit, 577 backers. That's amazing.
Yeah, Caleb does really, really good. I've got a great anthology, my next anthology pieces with him, which is really cool.
Yeah, I met him at Atlanta Comic-Con a while back. So, but just seeing like I'm not measuring numbers like, oh, I raised $500 million on fucking Kickstarter. Like, how many eyeballs did you get? Like that to me is
Sure.
the biggest number. Like, how many eyeballs, how many people did you reach?
All right. So Mike asked, what has come before this book? So there was a handbook and there's Loggerhead, right? Those are the two things that came before this?
Yes, the handbook is, well, this is the year 0 version, but just the handbook is like the old Marvel comics where they
Marvel Universe guide. Yep. By the way, the
was,
guy who makes that, it lives here in Brevard in my area.
That makes what?
That makes the Marvel Universe guide. He's the official guy
Oh,
who
wow.
goes through it. Yeah, he's all the concepts.
Dude, that has got to be like, he must have a brain like this big
Right.
to try to keep track of all that Marvel 616 and all that shit.
Yeah.
But so that it started with a handbook, and then through Scout I got the first issue of Loggerhead out,
Right.
and then now we're going into this Tales of Kerra Prime to and some inside baseball information is like, the more, since we got this content that comes out and they're introducing all these characters and stories, it's easier for us to merchandise. And so you can have a favorite character and now you can get a shirt, or you can get an action figure, or you can get a sticker, because I have all this stuff already, but with no content to back it up. Why would you want to buy a shirt with Baku on it if you've never seen him in a story?
Right.
You know, so now we're actually creating stories that that support the other cool figures and all the cool shit. Like, now you might want one of these, or now you may want like a wrestling mask for the wrestling guy, or you may want like a little battle buddy, like a little pillow fighter. But
exactly.
And that to me is the fun stuff.
Well, and I think that, you know, what it does is it helps people understand this bigger universe, and people do this. So you said earlier, you're not in the know whether or not people have done this, but what they normally do it with is with public domain characters. So characters that are really, really old from the 30s and the 40s that are allowed to be used, and then they kind of use those to make their universe and kind of stretch it out, because they can get that and put that old stuff in continuity, make their stuff feel important. And there's a small fan base. But what's cool about this, you could literally have a Kerra Prime versus public domain. Use those characters, put them against each other.
I haven't looked into it, man. There's a group on Facebook called Public Domain Heroes or something like that. So I was actually, don't think that I haven't thought about a bunch of cool shit moving forward, man. Like, even if we wanted to do like, let's step back and go like 2 years from now. Travis heads up Cthulhu invades Kerra Prime. Like, what the fuck? How badass would that be?
Sure.
Like, that would be cool. Now, granted, we're not the same level as Wizard of Oz or Wonderland or any of those largely adored tales. Like, but there could be, since Cthulhu is public domain, I could have a Cthulhu character. And I actually thought about having a guy named Lou, and that was going to be his incarnation was going to be Lou.
Well, and as you know, we're doing Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. Cthulhu Invades is a brand. So
no, I get it. I'm just saying, like, those are the type of cool things that I see that could happen moving forward. I wasn't actually suggesting that you pull.
So what's going to happen at 150? Have you revealed?
I've already ordered what's coming at 150.
What's happened?
I have. They'll be here next week, so they won't be here in time to show. But it's a set of 3 vinyl stickers. So you get they're 3 inches or 2.5 inches tall, and however wide they end up being. But one's going to be the sticker for the mask.
Okay.
It's going to be just the mask and say Muerto Noir. One is going to be a chibi of Apex.
Okay.
And the other is the Bloody Mary title logo.
Nice.
So you'll get a set of those 3 vinyl stickers. But there's also a bunch of cool shit. Like, well, I won't say a bunch, but I've already had it in my head that I was going to add stuff to this, and we didn't get to those stretch goals. But so they're just going to be like secret in your packs when you get them and stuff like that.
Right.
But so you're going to get more than you think you're getting.
Right, but we should help you by making sure you have a little bit extra money to fund all that extra stuff, right?
That shit's coming, whether or not. Like, I'm good, man. If I have to take it in the ass to get this thing done, I'm going to do that. But I'm going to make sure that all my creators get some sort of money, and then if I'm in the hole a little bit, that's the cost of doing business. Like,
sure.
I want to. I don't think there's any problem. Every writer will get a check. I just don't know how big the check is going to be.
Sure. Well, and the goal is to take care. This is a proud thing. One of the good things that this will do for anybody who's thinking about joining this in the future or now, it's a cool piece to have at your table, right? Like I have a piece that, you can get stuff and you'll be able to show it off that you're part of that. So if Brian's at a con, he's going to be selling that. He's going to be sending them to your table, sending people to your table to get it signed, which is really cool.
Don't forget Bill right there. He wrote a story inside too. Go get him to sign it. And then while you're at Bill's table and he's signing it, Bill's going to say, oh, check out this other book that I've got going on, or check out some of this fan art that I did. Would you like to buy a piece? Like that's what this whole thing is, man. It's all about trying to bring everybody up.
Yeah, we just got another backer, which is great. We're at 139, so that means we're 11 away from that 150. That's my next goal. I want to get 150 before I go to this con on Saturday. Tell me more about.
I know that we're here for you, so tell me more about what's going on Saturday. I caught the tail end of that.
Brian, do you not see the logo in the corner?
Yeah.
No. We're here for you, my friend. We are not here for me.
I'm not comfortable with that, but I want to make sure that because
I'm going to stop you. I feel that every writer on this who hasn't done something extra should really think about what you want to do as the industry. Because if you look at any of the big names, Brian Michael Bendis, or if you look at Donnie Cates or any of them, the reason why they got to that series is they continued to promote things, even if they didn't believe in it, even if not necessarily that they wouldn't believe in it, but they continue to promote everything they do like it's the next best thing. And that's part of being in this industry. Now, it's really important to do that. And if you're just working about your stuff, then you're not all in, and you should be all right.
Well, let me play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Because I appreciate everybody who's done anything, repost, do podcast or anything. But I do know this. A lot of these people are hustling.
Yeah.
And they may not have time to mess with this, because this was more of like maybe a favor to me, because they've got other shit that they need to handle. And I get that. So I'm not mad at them. Some creators may be a little bit more on the shy and reserved side, and they just create content. So they're not even doing their own thing. They just do stuff and let it go. So I never want anyone that doesn't to do anything extra to feel like, oh, well, I get it. I didn't ask you. I didn't pay you to do extra.
Sure.
And I know that some people aren't comfortable with it. Some people aren't as charismatic and like, oh, brother, we're going to go do it like I am. So I get that. I'm just happy that we got so many badasses on board. And I, like you said earlier, I can't believe that some of these badasses even tried to be a part of this project. Like, dude, Stefano's work for me, like I really enjoy looking at Stefano's art.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to ask the Metal Shark Bro guys to be involved, because I thought they were out of my level. Like I didn't but somebody said, hey, just reach out and ask them. And then they said, all right, cool. Like, I didn't even know this, dude. It's just, I'm so honored that these people decide, you included, that you and the rest of these guys chose to donate time, effort, and resources on a promise that you will get paid something down the road, and you can believe in something that nobody believes in. You know what I mean? Like that to me meant more, because either you like me or you like what I'm doing enough to try to be involved.
I agree. And all of this stuff, not to dismiss anything you say, but again, part of this is hustle. If you're going to be part of something, I mean, for me, I want to do my work. I want to know that I helped, that I got my share. I gave you 5 pages in the book. I gave you, 5 of my backers to make sure that I make it up. Backer per page. That's my belief. It's not anything that anybody else has to do.
That's just the way Travis rolls.
Right. That's the way I roll. But I've got to take off to the post office pretty soon.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to hop on.
I wanted to do one more. Let's go over it one more time together. All right.
All right.
So we've got a couple of the pictures, so you can watch us rotating and see some of the cool different art styles and look. By the way, why does Kerr look so much like Gamora? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, well, she looks like old school Gamora,
Right.
but I needed her to live in the underworld, and I liked the color green. So, and I wanted to give her like the sugar skull look, but I thought that old Gamora was far enough removed from people's zeitgeist. Like when you say Gamora now to a 20-year-old person, they're thinking of the one from the movies.
Sure.
You know, so you can't corner the market on a look.
Right.
Every version of that character ever to me, and I really just like green, and I like the hooded look. It makes you think evil.
Right. And the characters are very different. Their motivations and how they work.
They can't be confused. Other than their physical appearance, they really can't be confused for, oh, I thought that was Gamora because she's controlling demons and shit.
Right. So you got all these really cool people from Marvel, Aftershock, Hasbro, Image.
Yeah, the Hasbro one is the guy that did all of our not all of them, but did 90% of all the title logos.
Okay.
He's done logo work and stuff for Hasbro.
Nice. Action Lab is really great. Source Point, Caliber,
I noticed that you said Second Sight. At this point, when I started doing this, I don't think that Second Sight was quite up and coming, and I didn't realize that like 4 or 5 of the guys had done Second Sight stuff. So you said it's not all encompassing, but this is probably the bigger of the names that are involved.
Yeah.
Not to slight Second Sight or anybody else that didn't make the list.
Exactly. I was trying to think of. I know that there's another one in here that you didn't think of, and I just can't.
Upper Deck should be on there. Aftershock. Oh, I got Aftershock.
You got Aftershock, yeah.
I've done stuff for The Walking Dead.
Right.
I've done stuff for Star Wars. I've done stuff for Danny Trejo. Like all of those logos, like that thing could have been full up.
Sure, yeah.
But I wanted.
I love this. I put this on my campaign.
Dude, that's where I got the idea. I saw that shit.
It was so proud of all the people who've worked on stuff, and it's even proud of me. Like I think about my team because I have an Image credit, I have a Caliber credit, I have and Jerome, my letter has the Action Lab credit. I think that's really cool, like having all that together.
Yeah, and I noticed, and when I put this together, I had a couple of contributors say, "Well, why are you only putting the big stuff? Like there's a lot of independent stuff," and I'm like. I want the customers are more identifiable with this. The customers don't understand Orange Cone Productions.
Sure,
the customers don't understand whatever the SBX comics like. So this wasn't a slight to the indie publisher or the indie works that we've done. It's just these are bigger names. You want the customers to see that because that's what gets butts in seats.
Well, and the other thing to message when you talk about that too, like let's use my company as an example. It's a confusing thing because only Travis Gibb writes for Orange Cone, right? Like I am in every book I do. That's confusing. We're not there to just push my brand up. That's not what it's for. Because that's what it turns into if you allow the smaller press guys. Now, if I was Orange Cone and I published like a whole bunch of people's work, that's a different story. But I don't. And most of us don't.
I just wanted to justify why there's not a whole bunch of indie stuff on there because it's less like the idea of a Kickstarter is to give people like you're flashing advertisements. Why should you back this? Why should you back this? And you got to show them names of what they're familiar with.
What could have been cool though, and I'll probably do it for the next Cthulhu Invades Oz, is maybe putting their titles on, where you would have had Metal Shark Bro or Broke Down or Voodoo Nations taking their.
Well, here's the thing. So inside of the book,
you've got the ads,
Travis, right? When this story is written by Travis, it lists 3 credits underneath your name of things that you've also done, so that the reader can say, "Oh, Travis, he did this, this, and this. Let me go check it out." Because, like I said, this whole thing of what I'm trying to do is to bring everybody up. So everybody that's credited on this project on their page will have some other projects that they've been involved with that maybe people will go check out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we've got the digital copy, $10, very reasonable for 110 plus pages.
Oh yeah.
So you're paying less than $1 a
I mean,
page.
dude, 20 bucks for a physical copy is a
Yeah,
steal.
absolutely, absolutely. And I
Because
think your
and the
shipping
reason
was
we
only
did
like
that,
$5, right?
the shipping is $6. But
Yes.
the reason that we did it at such a low price is to try to get as many copies in people's hands. I told you we're not trying to get rich. We're trying to get people to see what we're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this $50 is a really good deal. You get the little preview guide, you get all that stuff together.
Yeah, you get the slabbable floppy and a signed print, and then you get the digital and the regular soft cover.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I wasn't baller
love
enough
this.
to get hard covers.
I love this, and I love their character. I love the Dora mask. I love everything really here. There's only 5 of them. How many have sold so far?
I think 1 or 2.
We got one sold. Oh no, you've sold some. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about those is like I'm getting them made up, and I'm going to send it to Bob and Kevin and have them sign it, and I'm going to sign it. So you'll get a triple signed wearable Muerto Noir mask for your collection.
Right. You know what you should do, Brian? I know it's the last couple of days, but you should have a couple of signed ones where you sign the book and you send it to us. If you send it to our local area, you can get me, David, and John.
I know. I just logistically, I don't want to make more headache for myself. And honestly, Travis, part of the reason that I didn't offer stuff like that is to force the creator or the readers to come and see you. Now they'll have a reason to go to the show, to come to your table, to see what else you've got. Because if it comes all signed, they never have to see you again. But I want them to come see you.
They're gonna read my Baku story and they're gonna be like, I need to give you $1 million to write my Baku related character for Kerra Prime. They're gonna pay you to be part of it. So it's gonna be great. So I'm not worried about it. So we've got the 225, 250. We talked about this. This one has Loggerhead. This one doesn't. But this one has Star Bastard, which is also hit comic over at Scout. So don't check on that. We've got some Loggerhead Bloody Bayou and the Deadlift's first appearance. So Loggerhead, by the way, you can't. He's part of the Kerra Prime universe, but he's kind of on hold with Scout right now, right? That's
yeah,
kind of
Scout holds the publishing rights to him, so that's why he's not included in. He's not included in this volume 1 because I can't print comic book material for Loggerhead without it being a Scout approved and all that stuff, and it's just too much red tape.
Yeah, absolutely, and that makes sense. Go back to it. I'm going through the list. Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
So we got the 300. We got the Loggerhead. The 400, you get all the digital stuff plus that really cool first panel. This is your best bit. In my opinion, this little coming out of the water is my favorite of that book.
Yeah, I had that in my head before I even wrote the book. I was just like, I was thinking of, what's that movie? Apocalypse Now?
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be badass.
And retailers, and I've loved how many retailer packages you sold.
Yeah. 13 retailer packs.
Which is great. That's great.
It means more eyeballs.
People come to me and ask me how to do retail. Those are my numbers, because I sell 5 to 7 every time I do a campaign.
Yeah, so I think part of what's cool is I took advantage of the add-ons that the way that Kickstarter has it now. So you can, without creating new tiers, you can create these add-ons that people can just throw on there. So that's where I kind of just threw on this extra stuff as opposed to making it complicated for tiers.
Right. Yeah, and I know we just heard that he bought the Kerra Prime handbook, which is great. The pin looks really, really cool. So just a little soft cover, $15. So you're getting a $5 discount if you want a second one.
Yeah, that's the idea. And then a couple of sketches.
Yeah.
And then the battle buddies.
The battle buddies, yeah.
And then some more art just in case. Like that's actually all related. Like, so that's Baku, and then that's the Ashcan, and then that's Muerto. The first time I drew Muerto Noir. So all of those are like related to this project.
Right. Yeah.
Without having to create their own tier.
Yeah. So we're definitely rocking and rolling. I think we're gonna hit the good stuff. You're going to get a big push coming up in the next couple of hours, when the Kickstarter sends out those final emails, which is great.
Yeah, dude, I'm just really excited. Like, to me, I don't know how this works with everybody else because I have a very small interaction with people, but I can't wait to get feedback from the people once they get this. Like,
Yeah.
I want to hear, like, dude, I can't wait to get more of this character. I was blown away by how well this was written, or, like, I want the feedback. And I know that it's not all going to be great feedback.
Sure.
But feedback will let me know that they care enough to either sound off good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. My favorite book, the one that I'm most excited about reading is Red Hawk. That the way he drew his Indian look, like in some of the pages that I've seen behind the scenes, man, I really think that maybe Stefano's better art. Because if you've for Stefano, you could tell like when he's really into a couple of pages, when a character. And I think that 5 pages is a good fit for him for short stories because he can really put all that energy in.
And see, so part of putting this together, 5 pages is enough to tell a story. Because I noticed that when you put your project together, some people had 1 pagers and 2 pagers, and nothing against your story. But if I'm trying to introduce a character, I think 5 pages is the smallest I can go to where you get some sort of understanding of who that person is, and we can tell a short story. So I didn't want to do any 1 pagers or 2 pagers. I wanted 5. And on a creative standpoint, it's less intrusive into your life for Travis to write 5 pages and to have Florence draw 5 pages. Like 5 pages isn't a super huge commitment,
right?
But it's enough to create. So I think 5 pages is a nice, good round number. So that's why everybody's story was 5 pages. Some people ended up doing 6, but
well, and that's fine. But what's cool about it, for me, we did the whole thing in 2 weeks. Brian said, "Hey, can you do it in 2 weeks?" I was like, "Of course." Because I'm a professional. I know some people can't do that, but we had it drawn, written, and edited and lettered all in that time frame, and then Brian went in and colored it after it, added a whole bunch of really cool stuff.
Yeah, I really thank you, and I thank Jerome and your whole team, because you brought Jerome and your wife on to finish those 2 up, and it really, like, it's I don't know the right words. My vocabulary isn't strong enough to express how grateful I am for everybody that took the time to help me get this done with very little promise of any kind of reimbursement.
Right. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's because of love and what you've done. You've done amazing covers for people, and your covers are being more and more on demand every year, which is great.
I'm excited about the one I'm doing this week. It's I
remember when you were begging people to buy your covers when you first started out to, your recount cover, like everyone's going crazy for the recount #1. And then when you did the crossover and getting flown out, like you're in a completely different level from when I met you.
Yeah, it's and that's part of what happened with Dustin. Dustin reached out to me very early on when I was just doing fan art, and he was like, "Hey, will you draw this story for me?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, I'll try to help you." But then he didn't have anything for me, and then like a year and a half went by, and I'm like, "Dude, I know that I said I would, but I'm no longer in a position to where that's feasible." Like you kind of the window eclipsed for me to be able to handle that for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as we're all growing, like look at where you are now as to where you may have been, pre Cthulhu Invades Oz.
Yeah, I mean, my first Kickstarter was, 150 backers, and now consistently the last 2 comics I did single issues, so Voodoo Nations and Burger were 175, 275.
That's badass.
So, I'm at that next level of backers because I am much like you. I don't care about the money. I care about how many people want to read my stuff.
Yeah.
That's the number that I care about. I care about that way more than I care about that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people were on this project for Kerra Prime that they're writers and they're being talked to by other companies, like not because of what they've done for us, but that lets me know that I'm getting really talented folks involved, because there's like at least 6 people on this project that other companies have reached out to and said, hey, we'd like to work with you. Send us some pitches, or, you know, show like they're going to be doing big things, man.
Right.
And so if you and I keep plugging away and writing, then maybe one day someone will say, hey, will you write for our shit?
Right. Exactly. And that's what it's all about. And that's, you know, going back to, you know, as I wrap this up, that's why I did this, because, you know, I believe in my talent and that I really want to sell stuff. I'm very proud to be in this book. I'm proud to be part of this. And if you are a fan of mine and you want to read a story, this is my first superhero book, a 5-page superhero type story.
Yeah.
Of course I want to do superheroes, man. Like Spider-Man, Marvel, DC, you know, there's a stack of books right there, all superhero books, man. Like, of course I want to do that. I write crime, I write voodoo, I write all that stuff for me. And the superheroes I want to do are already created, you know, but I loved taking part of this. If you backed me, it's a small investment to back this book, to just try it out. And some of my best friends are in here. Try it out for me. If there's anything I can do to try kind of sway you, please just go ahead and back. And that's all I got to say for today.
Well, thank you, Travis. Thank you for allowing me to come on and bullshit with you before you go to the post office. But thank you for all your hard work. Thank you to anybody that's given our the project the time of day just to even look at the video or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, thank you all. And this isn't the last that you've seen of me.
Yeah, and I'm sure this isn't the last time you'll see me in the Kerra Prime universe. Whenever you guys need me, I'll help Kerra Prime.
Yeah, well, talk to me, man. I'm already putting volume 2 together, bro.
I see you're doing crazy stuff.
All right, brother. Thank you, Travis.
Peace.
All right, bye-bye.